A baby's first food is always milk, but one day that milk isn't enough. We need a lot of nutrients to go from being a chubby baby to a strapping young adult, and that's when we turn to food to round out our nutritional needs. When the time is right, we supplement that bottle or breast with a spoon.
We recommend that babies start trying their first solid food somewhere between 4 and 6 months. Traditionally, it had been a little bit later, but now based on some of the new research, we'd like to start a little bit earlier, closer to 4 months. So usually I start with rice. Rice is the least allergenic, the simplest to digest, and we start with usually about a teaspoon of rice cereal. We mix it with a little breast milk or formula once a day in a bowl with a spoon, not in the bottle.
We introduce new food slowly. We add one new food to baby's menu every 3 days. We do this so that we can easily spot any foods that disagree with your baby. If all is well, but then your child suddenly has a bad reaction, you can reasonably assume it was the cottage cheese you started today. We look out for itching, rashes, stomach discomfort, vomiting, diarrhea, and swelling, coughing, wheezing, or difficulty breathing. Alert your pediatrician to any of these symptoms. If your baby tolerates a new food, then you can move on to the next one.
We start with rice for 3 days, oatmeal for 3 days, barley for 3 days, and we go through all of the cereals. And when done with the cereals, we go on to the vegetables. And I always tell my patients, start with the green, nasty vegetables first. The string beans, the peas, the spinach. And then when we're done with those, then we go on to the better tasting and sweet orange and yellow vegetables, like the butternut squash, the carrots, the sweet potatoes, and then one new food every 3 days. When we're done with all the vegetables, then we move on to the fruits. So who wants stinky peas when you could have peaches? So we leave the peaches and the sweet stuff for last.
Once you've introduced enough basic foods, you can start mixing and matching and even adding spices. Adding variety and texture can make meal times an explosion of sensations and flavors for your growing human. You can even try the traditionally allergenic foods like strawberries, shellfish, and peanut butter, as long as you keep a watchful eye.
We're trying to introduce all those highly allergenic foods early. There have been some studies that have shown that in countries where they give highly allergenic foods, such as peanuts, that the rates of food allergies, and peanut allergies in particular, are dramatically less than what we have in the United States. And through those studies, we've really tried to change our practices. Based on our new teachings, you're doing your child a huge service by introducing those highly allergenic foods early and often. I often will encourage my patients to, or the parents of my patients, to take a deep breath, take a big swallow, and just say, go ahead, introduce the highly allergenic foods.
One food you should avoid is honey. Honey could be associated with botulism, as honey contains some botulinum spores that are not processed effectively by the baby's gut until the age of 1. Parents often want to know what they can do to make their kid a good eater. There's nothing that's 100% effective, but exposing a child to a lot of healthy foods early and repetitively can help set an expectation of normal.
But the one thing that I do recommend is try to teach good, healthy eating habits early. So we're not giving a lot of junk food, we're not giving a lot of sugary food, we're not giving a lot of fried foods. Developing a taste for that starts early. So they don't know the difference between, let's say, sweet potatoes and peaches and birthday cake yet until they try the birthday cake at the first birthday. So we don't have to give a lot of junk food at the beginning. Eventually they'll learn.
Meal times can be a learning bonanza. Babies are exploring a world of textures and colors and tastes, all while developing hand-eye coordination. You might start with spoon feeding, but soon babies will want to participate, first with their hands and then with their own utensils. Let them. It's advantageous to let your child make a mess. Grabbing the food, squishing the food in their hands, and putting it in their mouth teaches them about the food they're eating. Just be ready to follow up with bath time and laundry. I'm Dr. Mike Rosen, and you're watching the eHealth Network. Stay healthy.